I need to say this? Thank you for attending today's webinar. Please place your phones on mute while I talk.
I don't think we have a mute button on this phone.
If you'd like to mute your phone, please hit *6 on your keypad. Can't you mute people anyway? No. Only when they call in via that. How many people? Only 8. Alright, well, let's start in a minute. Alrighty. We're going to start in just a minute. We only have 8 people on of the 17, so 50% actual show up rate.
We're actually on views, though. Because that's what happens. Tell that thing to stop coming on.
Don't go up there.
Go.
Alright, I'm going to make the announcement. Hello everyone, welcome to the 2010 Michigan Mentoring Month webinar. I'm Elise Walter, although it might look like I'm Amber Troop according to technology. I'm not. I don't have pretty red hair like she does. But thank you for attending today's webinar. Please place your phones on mute to eliminate any and all background noise. You can mute your phone just by using the mute button on your phone, but if you do not have a mute button, you can also press *6 on your keypad. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat log section, which is on the right-hand side of your screen, which is the webinar feature. We will try to answer your question right away, but if we don't get to it, we will answer all questions by the end of the webinar. And also at the end, we will have the opportunity for discussion and questions over the phone with everyone involved. So we'll go ahead and get started. As I said, I'm Elise Walter. I'm the Communications Specialist at Mentor Michigan. And thank you for joining us for the 2010 Michigan Mentoring Month webinar with the theme Pass It On. So many of you may or may not be aware of what Mentoring Month is. It's held every January. It actually was launched in 2002 by the Harvard School of Public Health and Mentor. It looks to focus national attention on the need for mentors, as well as how each of us, individuals, businesses, government agencies, schools, faith-based communities, and nonprofits, how we can work together to increase the number of mentors, and so we assure that there are brighter futures for our young people. So this is actually the 9th annual opportunity that is going to be Mentoring Month, and as I said, it's held on a national and a statewide level. Here in Michigan, we here at Mentor Michigan lead those statewide efforts. And I guess you could say we're the go-to resource for anything related to Mentoring Month in the state of Michigan. At the national level, the Harvard School of Public Health works with the national media to heighten awareness of mentoring and prompt individuals to volunteer to mentor. And Mentor also contributes by working with the National Mentoring Month campaign, which is, obviously there's a difference between Michigan Mentoring Month and National Mentoring Month, which we will get into a little bit later. So Mentor works with the National Mentoring Month campaign's local partners, one of which is Mentor Michigan, to organize opportunities in their states and or communities. And then another party that gets involved is the Corporation for National and Community Service. They help promote Mentoring Month through their network of Senior Corps, AmeriCorps, and Learn and Serve grantees. So if you're familiar with any of those national service programs, there might be a variety of ways that you're hearing about Mentoring Month, but at the end of the day, kind of the common goal is the same. And so there are a few goals for the Michigan Mentoring Month and National Mentoring Month, and those goals are to broaden the appeal. It's not just about recruiting volunteers or raising general awareness of the need for mentors in our communities. It's also a time to honor those who have contributed so much of their time to our young people in need. So it's kind of a threefold effort, Mentoring Month is. There's also a theme attached to Mentoring Month, and this is kind of where Michigan Mentoring Month and National Mentoring Month differ. The Michigan Mentoring Month theme for 2010 is Pass It On, which is also kind of Mentor Michigan's overall tagline. So that's kind of why we tie the two together, because we really feel Pass It On is a strong conversation to have about mentoring. This theme, as I said, is tied to our overall mission, and we used Pass It On during our efforts last year in 2009, and we just had a really good response to Pass It On, and that's why we intend to continue the use of this theme into the future. And not only that, but it helps with our branding and our marketing, and people realize Mentor Michigan means Pass It On. But the National Mentoring Month theme is Expand Your Universe, Mentor a Child. And this theme for the National Mentoring Month, it changes on a regular basis. I guess I can't quite remember what last year's was. It was similar to that, and then they use kind of a different design aesthetic each year, and that's pretty much what they base their theme off of. We don't require you, as Mentor Michigan, we don't require you to use our theme in your localized efforts, and you don't need to feel required to use the National Mentoring Month theme. These are just kind of things that can help you get your ideas and your efforts up off the ground, and when it comes to materials that we provide, or materials that the National Mentoring Month provides, just be aware that there will be themes attached to those, and so you might have some conflicting messages out there, which is something definitely to think about. Within Michigan Mentoring Month, there are some special days that are recognized as part of every January. These days definitely deserve special recognition, and they're definitely highlighted throughout the month. One of those is the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service, which this year, well, in 2010 I should say, will be on January 18th. The Corporation for National and Community Service highlights mentoring during its annual MLK Day. This year's date, as I said, it's on Monday, January 18th, and keeping in mind the purpose of the annual MLK Day, we encourage mentoring programs to get involved in this National Day of Service. That could be volunteering as a mentoring professional or staff in your office. That could be creating a service opportunity for your employees, your colleagues, or perhaps your mentoring matches that they can all participate in. Or just building an overall awareness about service with your volunteers and your mentees and your matches that lets them know service is very important to our communities. Obviously, mentors do a service to their mentees, and to kind of tie everything back together, that service is an integral part to our success in overcoming our toughest challenges, and that it should be recognized, and everybody should participate in service in some form or other. And we just feel like creating volunteer opportunities is a great activity anyway. Anytime that you can engage your mentoring matches, it's a great opportunity, and anytime you can give back to your community is just an even better opportunity. Also during Mentoring Month, there is Thank Your Mentor Day. Thank Your Mentor Day this year will be on Thursday, January 21st. On that day, many Americans will reach out to thank or honor those individuals who encouraged and or guided them and who had a lasting impact on their lives. National Mentoring Month actually offers 4 different ways that you can promote Thank Your Mentor Day, and we here at Mentor Michigan think that these are pretty great ways to get involved. One of those is to invite your mentees to contact their mentors to directly express their appreciation. So maybe on that Thursday of Thank Your Mentor Day, a mentee could contact their mentor, send them an email or give them a call or send them a text and just say, hey, thank you for all that you do in my life, and thank you for being my mentor. And it's Thank Your Mentor Day, and I just want you to know I was thinking about you. Second way is encouraging your current adult mentors or alumni or current mentees that might be alumni to pass on what they received when they had a mentor as a young person. So maybe it's your mentee alumni getting in touch with their old mentor and just saying, if they're not in touch, saying, I've been thinking about you a lot and I wanted to get back in touch with you and just thank you for all that you did in my life. or something of that nature. Another neat idea is to encourage individuals or businesses or other organizations in your community to actually make a financial contribution to your specific program, just by saying, help us thank our mentors and support our program and make sure we have services available into the future for the youth and the communities that we're serving. And we'd really like it if you made a contribution to our efforts. And then kind of a last idea is to ask your current mentees to write a tribute to their current mentor. There's actually a website through the National Mentoring Month efforts that you can do this at, and it's just at whomentoredyou.org. So that's kind of a neat idea. And then you can see tributes from mentees all across the country, and there are even some celebrity tributes up there too of celebrities that had mentors growing up or as young adults. So let's talk about what you can do as part of the 2010 Michigan Mentoring Month. The first thing that you can do is raise awareness in your area and or your community, and you can do so in many easy ways, such as sharing your organization's efforts with the public. One of those opportunities might be creating an event for your mentoring matches that the general public is invited to. So this wouldn't be an event that is strictly open to your mentoring matches, but that's something that the general public could participate in as well. Something could be as simple as an open house, which just helps paint the picture of how important mentoring is to your community and lets you share some general information about what you do individually as an organization. You can also think about possibly distributing a press release to your local media, and in it you could just highlight the fact that January is the 2010 Michigan Mentoring Month, but also talk about what your organization specifically plans to do to show your support, or maybe share a story about your need for more mentors, or maybe even highlight a match that has just had an outstanding relationship and you think is the perfect example of what mentoring is all about. You could also, in the same regard, think about submitting an op-ed piece to your local newspaper, and this would be very similar. You could highlight the importance of mentoring, or even ask a mentee, a mentee that you would actually work with hand in hand, to put their spin on it and submit it from a youth perspective. I think that's a great opportunity to get some media coverage and to get your name out there. I wanted to share an example with you of a way of raising awareness that came from the 2009 Michigan Mentoring Month. The YWCA of Kalamazoo actually submitted an op-ed to the Kalamazoo Gazette, and they talked about the fact that January is Michigan Mentoring Month and that now is a great time to be a mentor. So on your screen you can actually see a copy of the op-ed that went out, and in it they actually talked about what you can do to become a volunteer and what you can do to become a mentor in your community. And it ran in the paper, and I think what's important to remember is that reader-submitted content is always a great opportunity to get printed, especially if it's pre-written, ready to go. Just submit it. All they have to do is turn around and enter it into their paper. Those are great opportunities to get printed because pretty much all the work is done for them. They might call you for follow-up or clarification. That's a quick, easy way to help spread the word. But I wouldn't just have don't just use the op-ed, I should say, to request more mentors. Something that we're hearing from a lot of mentoring organizations out there is that they're not just in need of volunteers, they're in need of resources. So if you do decide to submit an op-ed or a press release or something similar to that, don't be afraid to talk about the fact that you need resources, such as donations or funding, or even if you need supplies. You can use the op-ed for whatever you feel like is necessary, and definitely tie it to what your organization needs the most. So a second thing tying into the goals of the Michigan Mentoring Month is recognize. Consider recognizing your mentors, mentees, general volunteers, your staff, your board, your stakeholders, whoever you feel like is just really contributing to your overall success. Something you could do is, again, create an event such as something like an awards ceremony that highlights the great work of your mentoring matches and volunteers and what they mean to your organization. You can also consider honoring their efforts by presenting your matches or your volunteers or anybody else with tokens of your appreciation. I actually want to make a side note here, but on our website, on our training and technical assistance page, we have a whole list of webinars that you can register for directly on our website. And one of them that I think would be key to honoring the efforts of your volunteers and your mentees is Michigan State University Extension has an upcoming webinar scheduled for November 30th, and it's called Beyond Certificates and Plaques, Mentor Recognition. And that might be a nice webinar to kind of participate in, to learn about the different ways that you can honor your volunteer and your mentees' efforts, and how different people kind of respond to recognition in different ways. So definitely check that out at our website, mentormichigan.org. Also, what you can do is just spread the great news about what your mentoring matches and or volunteers are doing for the community. That could be as simple as submitting an op-ed like we just talked about, or submitting a press release that's more focused on a story, not so much hard deadline-focused news, but just overall efforts of your organization that you could submit to your local paper or a TV station, and then maybe talk about doing a feature on you, a feature on mentoring in your community, or a feature on your organization. Or you could even pitch it to a local radio station and tell them, you know, we'd really like to come on your program one morning, or we'd like to have one of our mentoring matches visit your show one morning to talk about just some of their favorite stories that they've shared together. So again, I wanted to share an example with you from the 2009 Michigan Mentoring Month. This is actually a really great example from the Ottawa County Mentoring Collaborative. Last January they held the Magic of Mentoring celebration, and at this event they honored mentors and mentees and community members who have been supporters of mentoring. So they gave out awards, and they featured some great testimonies and first-hand stories from people, and then they also got some local talent to donate their time to provide the evening with some entertainment, which was really fun. And then they also, what was really great, which helped to bring the press and the media around, is that they got some special guests to participate, which included the mayor of Zeeland and a 20th Circuit Court judge and a senator from their district. So that kind of helped raise the overall awareness, again, tying those two goals together, and made their event really successful. And then a third thing that you can do for Michigan Mentoring Month is recruit. You can recruit potential mentors, you can recruit potential mentees, you can recruit pretty much anybody. So use the statewide national effort to encourage more individuals to give their time to a young person. So again, as I said before, I think you could tie this to an event somehow. An open house is a really great opportunity to showcase your current mentoring matches and to invite the general public to learn about your efforts. If you do so, be sure to highlight some of your key data and statistics and great stories that are relevant to your program, to kind of really outline your overall need and your overall goals, and to really express the fact that mentoring is very critical to your community. I would also strongly urge again to share the fact that you are in need of mentors with your local media outlets. So again, a press release or an op-ed are really quick, easy pieces of ways to do that. And if you have board members, now is the time to engage them. Ask for their support by making personal asks to the media or attaching their names to your op-eds to let them know, you know, it's not just our staff that's concerned. We have constituents and stakeholders that are invested in our programming as well, and they also care about our community's youth. And the last thing I would say as far as recruiting, which we're really pushing here in Mentor Michigan, is consider reaching out to new audiences. Mentor Michigan tries to provide you with a lot of different recruitment materials, and so we recognize that not all audiences are the same when you're asking them to give something, whether it's money, time, whatever. And so just be conscious of that as you're moving forward with your recruitment efforts. I mean, do you have a large organization or a corporation in your community that you could reach out to? Can you visit their staff meetings? Can you pitch mentoring to them and the fact that you need volunteers? Or maybe you would think about visiting some of your community's churches and reaching out to the faith-based audiences. Don't be afraid to get creative and think about the various populations within your community that you could be delving into and that you could be maximizing on the rewards that they can offer. So I just wanted to show you one other example from 2009 from the Michigan Mentoring Month, and this kind of ties to the open house concept. Last year, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Berrien and Cass Incorporated, they held a couple different open houses during the month as a chance to start some conversations about mentoring in their area. They were each held in 3 separate locations in southwest Michigan, and very diverse, different locations. and so that was great because they reached a variety of audiences. And so they just had staff on hand. I think they were maybe an hour and a half long. They had staff on hand and light refreshments, and they talked about the various mentoring programs that they have, such as school-based versus community-based, and they were just there to answer questions that people had about mentoring. Maybe they also had mentors on hand so they could talk about their personal experiences with mentoring. And then they didn't ask people to become mentors that day. They didn't tell you you had to sign up to become a mentor. I think it was just a great place to start the conversations and dialogues about mentoring. So we depend so much on what you as local mentoring organizations do during Michigan Mentoring Month, but we want you to know that we at Mentor Michigan, we also strive to help you see success during January, and so there are several things that we will be doing on our end to help share your efforts with broader audiences. As a statewide organization, we support mentoring programs and we provide awareness about the importance of and need for more mentors. So one of the first things that we would really like you to do is consider submitting your 2010 Michigan mentoring events to us directly via email or fax, and we will compile all of those opportunities into one useful, handy document that we then share with a broader audience. So we put it on our website. It's available to all of the mentoring organizations, any visitors of our website, and the media, and people can know right away where are the events happening in January and kind of what's going on in their community. Another thing that we would really encourage you to do is share with us a copy of your press release and or op-ed that you plan to share with your local media so that we can keep track of what kind of happens and what our overall impact is in the media as part of Mentoring Month this January. And you never know, we may actually share your efforts on a broader scale with even more media. We might get a specific call that asks for a specific story in a specific location, and if we know you've already put some news out there, we can share that with them and help it get a little bit further. Another thing that we'd really love, and we can never stress this enough, is that we'd love it if you would provide us with any photos that you take during the 2010 Michigan Mentoring Month, especially if they're photos of your events. As you know, pictures say 1,000 words, and we can never have too many visual documentations of what mentoring means in Michigan. So overall, this just helps to keep us in the loop, and it helps us realize kind of where we're faltering and what areas we need to help you with, and kind of what areas are being really successful and what is helping to make Michigan Mentoring Month just a big celebration. So don't be afraid to let us know if you have questions or concerns, or if you have things that are working for you or things that are not working with you. We'd love to have conversations with you about how we can continue to make Mentoring Month bigger and better. But one of the big things that we do as Mentor Michigan is that we provide you with resources for Mentoring Month, including our toolkit. So we definitely will get into that in just a moment. And the toolkit is a big part of Mentoring Month and the success of mentoring programs in local communities. A second thing that we do is we provide you with research. This January, sometime during the month, we will be releasing data from the latest wave of our annual Mentor Michigan census, so definitely be on the lookout for this information. It can help you gauge the effectiveness of mentoring in Michigan, and it can be an overall great resource for your program. When this research comes out, as it does every year, you could use those latest and greatest updated numbers, such as how many mentors are in Michigan or how many youth are being served, and you can then use that to apply for grants or recruit volunteers or engage elected officials. So definitely be ready to kind of see all our census data in January. We're going to be really excited to share that information with you. We also have mini grants that I want to touch on briefly. The application process for the 2010 Michigan Mentoring Month mini grant process has actually concluded, but we want you to be aware that there is this opportunity out there for your future reference, especially we can never, I guess, look too forward as we can soon talk about, I guess, 2011 Mentoring Month. But in order to apply for a Mentor Michigan mini grant, which is then used during Mentoring Month, you must be registered on our Mentor Michigan directory, and you must have completed the latest wave of the Mentor Michigan census. So also keep that in mind for long-term planning, that you have to fulfill some of our stipulations and qualifications in order to have access to these funds. The grants that are distributed are typically up to $1,000, and these funds can be used to pretty much accomplish any of the goals of Michigan Mentoring Month: raise awareness, recognize mentors, and/or recruit volunteers, among other things. And lastly, we also like to share with you what others have done. So at the end of Mentoring Month and throughout the month, we'll keep you posted on what other people are accomplishing during Mentoring Month. And currently on our website, you can check out what occurred during the 2009 Mentoring Month. So, definitely feel free to utilize that and some of the successes that occurred last year. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the overall resources that are available to you guys for Mentoring Month. As I stated in the previous slide, we do have the Michigan Mentoring Month Toolkit. It has a variety of tools available. All of them are free. We provide support around those tools. If there's any pieces of the toolkit that you're confused about, or you want to expand on, or you just want a little help tweaking to kind of fit your own program, we're happy to help you on our end make them your own and make them specific to your community. As I said, they're available at mentormichigan.org. The next slide will go more in depth into that toolkit, so you can kind of see firsthand what those pieces look like. National Mentoring Month also has a few key resources. They have two great places. One is just nationalmentoringmonth.org, and then also, as I mentioned before, whomentoredyou.org. I will say that they don't update on a consistent basis, so currently they don't have very much 2010 information available, but they still have a variety of resources that might be interesting to your programs, and I would say continue to visit those websites in the future as they update them probably later on. But I definitely wanted to talk about our toolkit, and we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and look at the Mentor Michigan page on our website so you can kind of see firsthand what that page looks like as we figure out how to do this. Oh. And then we're figuring it out. Okay, so okay, now you can see it. So let me tell you a little bit more specifically about these tools and resources. We have will you scroll down for me, Katie? Thank you. We have recap right off the top, which is great. It's a PDF document that you can look at all the different exciting things that happened this past January. Another thing that we have is our 2010 Michigan Mentoring Month Save the Date. You can post this flyer anywhere in your community that you'd like. If you feel like you want to make it more localized, feel free to contact me and we can do a little version that's focused on your community and putting it up in your community. This gives people a quick peek at what January is all about for Mentoring Month. So, I mean, you could put these up in businesses, you could put these up in schools, you could send them home with your mentees, anything that you want to do. And you could also send them out electronically. If you just saved the file and you didn't open it or print it or something, you could feel free to send this out via email to people that you send regular communications with. That's another great way to kind of get the word out. We also have some form op-ed pieces, and these are Word documents, so this means that you can change these yourself. There's blanks written into the documents that ask for you to put your localized personal information in, and with these Word documents, basically they're a skeleton of what we think is a good op-ed, and you can kind of pick and choose how you want to use that information and how much you want to use. So definitely consider engaging people like your board members or your mentoring matches to complete these. But be careful that you watch the language. I wouldn't want to submit multiple without changing the language dramatically, because then you would be submitting basically the same document over and over to the same media outlet. We also have a template media advisory. I don't know if you're familiar with what a media advisory is compared to a press release, but a media advisory basically lets people know that you have an event coming, so it typically highlights the who, what, where, when, why, and how, usually, of an event, and you would give it to the media a few days ahead of time to let them know you have an event coming in that you'd like them to attend. Maybe it's a photo or a video opportunity or a chance to interview your executive director or something of that nature. Again, it's a nice, easy Word document that you can then take and turn into whatever you want. We're providing you as Mentor Michigan with a skeleton, and you can do with it what you want. We also have, which we've had pretty much every year, our public service, our television and radio public service announcements. We're very proud of our public service announcements. We have 2 television PSAs which feature one of our spokesmen, Lloyd Carr. We also have a radio PSA that features James Taylor. These PSAs, they're not downloadable directly off of our website due to the file size, but we are happy to provide you with a copy on a DVD of these PSAs, which then you can duplicate and distribute, or put them on your website, or do whatever you'd like with. We do ask that you request a copy through our office, and you can just fill out our PSA, still sounds bad, that you can fill out our PSA request form, and feel free to email it to me at my email address, and I will get you one in the mail as soon as possible. We also have a direct link to our Mentor Michigan census results. Right now, if you clicked on that, you'd see our latest results, which were compiled from the end of fall 2008. But as I said, we'll have new results in January, so keep checking back on that. You can refer to some older results, and then obviously we'll have some hopefully great numbers to share with you this January. We also have some event ideas to share with you. A lot of times people will provide us with their event planning details, and we like to kind of turn those into quick event ideas that you could do to recruit volunteers, especially males, and it just help you get your creative juices flowing, and so we're happy to help and share best practices. We also have 2 different planning guides, one for an event, which is much more detailed about logistics and that kind of a thing, and then media. So these step-by-step guides kind of take care of a lot of the questions or concerns that you might have while you're planning, and are just an overall great resource to use, not only for Mentoring Month, but for efforts in general. And then, as you may have seen, we have a few other key pieces along the way. We have basic language that you could share if you went to a faith-based organization to share with them about Mentoring Month, male-specific events for Mentoring Month, piggyback ideas if you utilize our public service announcements. Definitely feel free to peruse our toolkit, as there's a variety of resources available that you might find that are great to use. And so we also want you to know, though, that more is coming. So we hope that you'll continue to check our toolkit page for additional resources in the future, because we will have some items coming up that are specific to Thank Your Mentor Day, as we just talked about, and also the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. Thank Your Mentor Day, we're creating some in-house pieces thanks to our Vista that we would like to share with you in the near future, and then for the Martin Luther King Jr. Day, those pieces are provided by the Corporation for National Community Service. So we're kind of slowly getting all those pieces together, and we'll compile them and share them with you. And then not only that, but during the actual month of January, we tend to keep things updated and fresh too. Like I said, the census results, we'll submit a press release that's statewide about Mentoring Month and Mentor Michigan, and so that'll be really fun to kind of share with you in the future. PSA request. Do I make that online or via the mail? The form for your PSA request, just download it, open it, fill it out by hand or on the computer, print it off, either email it to me when you save it or fax it to me. I guess if you wanted, you could even mail it. But no, it's not an online submission process. You have to pretty much do it the old-fashioned way. So, good question, though. So this January, we have a lot of things that we here at Mentor Michigan will be focused on. I guess I can't say it enough that we will be continually updating our toolkit. But we also will be hopefully distributing our public service announcements statewide. It's great if you can get those public service announcements in your local communities, but we try to get an even broader audience to be able to view them. So as an example, last year we were able to get some airtime on Fox Sports Network Detroit, and our Lloyd Carr PSAs were aired during every home Red Wing and Pistons game during the month of January. So that was a really great opportunity to, number one, reach an audience that we're all striving to get in touch with, and then also just the fact that it occurred during Mentoring Month was a really great opportunity. So we don't anticipate making a pitch similar to what we did to Fox Sports Network last year, but we do anticipate leveraging some localized media outlets, especially in the major metropolitan areas, to play our TV and radio PSAs. We'll also do local event promotion this January. We try as hard as we can to provide as much support to your mentoring organizations throughout January as we can. So that means we hope to attend some of the local events this year as we did for last year. And that way we can kind of go back to Lansing and share with everyone the great things that you guys are doing in your communities. We will also continue to do outreach as we do with all of our other initiatives. If you're on our Mentor Michigan listserv, today you would have seen we sent out our first email for Michigan Mentoring Month, and you'll continue to see emails on a regular basis coming out of our office that lets you know all the great things that are happening for Michigan Mentoring Month. But you can feel free to then redistribute those emails as well, especially if there's audiences that we may not be reaching that you are. So definitely feel free to forward those messages on. We're happy to let you use them how you like. Also coming in January, which we're always excited about, we'll have hopefully a proclamation from Governor Jennifer Granholm. Each year we've received a proclamation, and so we anticipate that occurring again, which is great. We always put an electronic copy of it up on our website, and you can then feel free to read it at your events or your recruitment opportunities or whatever it may be during January to let people know that we have full support from the governor. And then obviously at the end of the month, stay tuned as we'll compile a recap of all that happened in Michigan during January so that you guys can be aware of all the successes that occurred. So I'd be happy to answer any questions or if there's any comments that people have, or if we have any Mentoring Month alums on the line that would like to share some best practices for Mentoring Month, I'd love to kind of hear that, if anybody has any thoughts. Negatron. I guess I would also say, please send me your forms. I'd love your event forms, and I'd love your PSA request forms. I'm hopeful when we hang up I'll have 15 in my email inbox. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, I came in late. I meant to be online at 3 o'clock, but it was more like 3:15, 3:20. I'm Dawn Matthews.
Hi, Dawn.
Hi.
Is there anything
How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Is there anything that we can touch base on that maybe you have questions on, or I can actually send you kind of the whole presentation of anything that you might have missed?
Yeah, if you could send the presentation, that would be great.
Do you feel comfortable giving me your email? Oh, never mind. We have it, Dawn. So I will make sure I send you the whole presentation.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anybody else have any questions, thoughts, worries?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for attending our 2010 Michigan Mentoring Month webinar. If you have any colleagues or friends or buddies or people you meet on the street that would like to participate in any of our upcoming ones, we also have another Mentoring Month webinar on Thursday at 9 o'clock and one scheduled for Tuesday, November 10th at 3 o'clock. And you can register for either of those or your friends, buddies, people you meet on the street at our website, mentormichigan.org, where we also have a variety of other things you can look at. So thank you so much for participating, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I got one more question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Are you still having the seminar November the 18th?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that's our conference.
Okay, the conference, yes.
Yes. Are you attending?
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.